Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ali. I'm a 64-year-old administrator in higher education, and I also work part-time as a supermarket checkout assistant. I live up north in the UK with my small pug called Kitty. I'm new here on YouTube, but you may already know me from my Instagram account Frugal Granny UK, where I've been documenting frugal living and my preparation for retirement, including the renovation of my terrace house for several years. So a special welcome to you if you've come over from there. And if you found me from YouTube, do check out my Instagram account. The pin posts on that account will give more background as to how I got to where I am in life right now and what I'm intending to do. The link is in my YouTube bio. I know some of my Instagram followers have been asking for a YouTube channel for a while, and what better reason to start this new venture than documenting my preparation to retire unexpectedly early at the end of June this year, and how I managed to get by the 2-year gap until I'm eligible to get the state pension at the end of July 2027, when I will be 66 3/4. So, early retirement. Well, I will be quite honest with you, this was not my plan A. As mentioned, I've still got 2 years until I can claim my UK state pension, and I had every intention of maximising those 2 years, earning and saving as much as I possibly could in that time frame, and finishing the last bits of renovation on my late Victorian terraced house. Sometimes I freak myself out a little bit by calculating how much I'm going to lose by having quit work 2 years early, but I try and put that out of my mind now that the decisions have been made. Sometimes life just doesn't go as planned, and life well and truly caught me in surprise early March this year, and the plan I'm working to now isn't even plan B or plan C. I'm not sure it's even plan E. I'm not exactly making things up as I go along. I'm trying to think ahead, but it's all a little bit of a surprise, so I thought, why not drag a few of you along with me. I don't want to go into too much detail here for obvious reasons, really, but the sector in which I work is currently facing significant challenges, and many institutions are making significant changes as a result. Over the last decade and a half, I've worked for 3 different higher education institutions that have undergone restructures, and as I've seen each restructure coming, I've made plans to leave, move on, progress, and almost to surf that wave to my own advantage. This time, I will be honest, the changes in the sector are so massive that it's really hard to know where to run. There actually is nowhere to run, and I'm out of options. And to be honest with you, I have no more energy to dodge and weave. I just feel I've probably got what they call change fatigue. I've decided enough is enough, and I'm going to take the chance to retire early and just enjoy life while I can, basically. I honestly thought I had dodged the current restructure where I work at the moment last summer, when I landed a fantastic new job. It was a promotion. It was the kind of role that I've been wanting to do for over a decade, but when it got to the new year and I came back after Christmas, there was a dawning realization that it wasn't really working out quite as I had wanted. And when the goalposts for the restructure at my institution changed again, I decided that even though my job isn't actually at risk, I really had just had enough, and I didn't want to be part of what could be called the new landscape. I really was pretty stressed. I rang my GP and she signed me off for 4 weeks with work-related stress. During this time, my oldest dog, she was rather a 13-year-old fawn pug. She worsened. She's been suffering from myelopathy for about 5 years. It's a progressive degeneration of the spinal column, and I knew eventually that she would become paraplegic, doubly incontinent, and then go into organ failure, and that's exactly what happened. And while I was signed off with stress, she went into kidney failure and she died in the middle of March. It was really sad. She was here at home with us. She died in my son's arms. She was loved right up to the end, but it takes a toll on you when an animal that's seen you through some really rough times and has given you unconditional love suddenly passes away, even if you're expecting it. And that sort of brought me up short and made me realize that, you know, nobody gets to the end of their life and wishes they'd spent an extra day at the office. I still have one remaining dog who's 13. I don't really want to leave her on her own more than I have to. I have some health conditions of my own. They're not desperate, but you know, they're enough to make me review my own mortality once a year when I have to go for a checkup. And I gather at the moment the multidisciplinary team at the department where I attend is considering my case, so I'm possibly looking at more surgery. I don't know. So I just decided that enough was enough, and it was time to sort of hang up the boxing gloves and retire. My colleagues don't really get it because my job isn't at risk, but there is just so much change that I just couldn't find a fixed spot in the universe in which I inhabited there. The decision was reached after a lot of heart searching, and in the end I decided not to give my contractual 4 weeks notice, but to give 3 months notice to take early retirement so that I can get my workplace pension. Now that will be 5 months ahead of when I was due to get it, so I'm probably again going to lose out there. I'm probably going to lose about £2,000. But you know, it gets to a point really when you just can't go any further, and I'm actually at that point. I think my subconscious was at that point a while back, because in the autumn I had letters from 2 other workplace pension providers where I've worked before asking what I wanted to do with my pension. Now I was, you know, a year off 65, and I actually decided that the fact my university was offering a voluntary severance scheme was a good excuse to actually leverage taking those pensions early. So that's what I did. I took 2 of them early, and I had the first payments at the beginning of March. Now they're not going to make me rich. They're about £150 a month each, which is £300. But hey, as my mum said, it's better than a kick in the teeth. So I'm still waiting for the workplace pension estimate for my current place of work. I don't think it's going to be much different from the 2 I've got already, which will probably leave me with about an income of about £450 to £500 a month if I'm lucky from my pensions. Thankfully, none of them are stocks and shares based pensions, so hopefully all the business with the tariffs isn't going to make a big difference to what I get. Thankfully, people really joke about this a lot, about early retirees taking jobs in supermarkets, but I have worked for one of the big supermarkets for the last 18 months. I started as a festive colleague 2 Christmases ago, and they decided to keep me on, and I was absolutely thrilled about that. So thrilled I cried with happiness, which I just don't understand, but I really love it there. And at 20% tax, which I'm having to pay on that at the moment, my contract brings me home about £640 a month after pension contributions and national insurance and tax. And I will say that I max out my pension contributions with that employer, so if I opted out of that scheme or reduced the contributions, I could probably bring home a little bit more. And once I've got my P45 from my current place of work, my tax payments might adjust such that I'm not paying quite so much tax there, because I should still have a fair bit of my personal allowance for the current tax year remaining, but we'll see how that goes working forward. So what I intend to do is on this channel is document how I wind up my current lifestyle, which over the last 3 months, and I must admit I've been living it large a little bit for the last year, with an income of about £2,000 to £3,000 a month. I must admit I've been stashing it away, but now I'm going to be going down to a potential income of about £1,100 a month. So there isn't going to be any possibility of saving, and I still have 2 big renovation projects on the house to pay for, so probably all the money I stashed last year will be going on that, but that really was the plan. How I'm going to format this channel, I don't know. I mean, I've watched a few other people who do similar things, and they seem to have a weekly structure and a monthly structure. I'm just going to play it by ear for now, and see how it goes, see what you like. To be honest with you, a bit like my Instagram feed, this is starting out really for me as opposed to being for anyone else, but I'm really hope that along the way it might help people, and that you might be able to help me with some good advice. So we'll take a look at my budget at the beginning of each month, how I plan that and why. Maybe there'll be a few shopping hauls. I love a yellow sticker bargain, and as you can imagine, working for a supermarket, well placed for that. There are house renovations coming up. I'm having all the woodwork done on the front of the house and the glass replaced in the front door, and the garden will need starting up again to grow a few veg. I ran that down last year because of the slug invasion that we seem to have over here in the UK, but I've sown some seeds and we're going to try and get that up and going again. And I expect, you know, I will probably check in at the end of every month to see how we did, decide what needs tweaking, and talk about how I intend to dig myself out of any unexpected holes. So thank you for popping by to say hello again, especially if you've come over from Instagram. It must be a little bit of a surprise to put a face to the name, because it has very much been a faceless Instagram channel. I would be thrilled if you'd stay and follow along, subscribe and like, and even leave a comment, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully at the weekend, for a May budget video, and talking a little bit about how I intend on clearing my debts before I retire. Anyway, thank you very much for watching along. I'm just going to turn you off now, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.